தம்பி கேக்குதா?
அதுல யாரும் பேசுறாங்களா?
எதுலம்மா?
மீட்ல
குட் ஈவினிங். நான் ஜீவிட்ல தான் பேசுறேன். குட் ஈவினிங்.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening to everyone. A warm welcome to all distinguished chief guests, my dear participants. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar on research methodology. In recent decades, India has emerged as a global powerhouse across various sectors with its rapid economic growth, technological advancement, and cultural diversity gaining international attention. As India leverages its human capital and resources, the nation is well on its way to becoming the leader in the world of academic research and development. I believe we have chosen the right topic at the right together.
Ma'am,
Let us
voice breaking. Not audible, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Now it is audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good evening to everyone. A warm welcome to all, a distinguished chief guest, my dear participants. It is pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar on research methodology. In recent decades, India has emerged as a global powerhouse across various sectors with its rapid economic growth, technological advancement, and cultural diversity gaining international attention. As India leverages its human capital and resources, the nation is well on its way to becoming a leader in the world of academic research and development. I believe we have chosen the right topic at the right time. Together, let us accelerate the exchange of ideas and scale up good practices in research. It is indeed a beautiful evening, and we all in a delightful frame of mind. I now have the pleasure of introducing our resource person for today, Dr. R. Vermurugan, sir is an exceptionally knowledgeable academic with strong connections to various institutions with over 25 years of experience in both academia and research. He has gained extensive expertise. He has authored more than 150 articles in journals indexed in Scopus, Web of Science, edited volumes, and both international and national journals. He also written around 11 books. He is a renowned academician and has chaired over 50 faculty development programs, seminars, guest lectures, and workshops. He has guided six scholars. His profile is rich and impressive, but due to the time constraint, I have shared it on the brief sir. We are truly grateful to you, sir, for graciously accepting our invitation to share this experience. Once again, it is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed chief guest for today's webinar and to all the participants. Once again, to all.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Hello,
Good evening, sir.
ma'am. The voice is audible.
Yeah, it's audible, sir.
Okay, shall I commence, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay, good evening, sir. One not all present here. First of all, I thank Oedipus Academy and Kamalam College of Arts and Science for offering this wonderful opportunity to say few words on parametric and non-parametric test. Today, I am going to cover when to apply parametric and non-parametric. What is the purpose behind applying parametric and non-parametric test? The main when we first of all when we move for higher studies like MPhil or PhD, first always try to avoid mentioning formula. When we move for higher studies, always try to mention the purpose of employing each and every tool. If you are pursuing UG or PG, you can mention formula. But once you move for higher studies, avoid mentioning formula and better to mention what is the purpose behind employing each and every statistical tool. That is more than sufficient. Okay, before moving to our topic, based on the normality, before deciding the tool, whether we are going to apply parametric or non-parametric, first you want to identify the normality of data, whether population is normally distributed or not normally distributed. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, audible.
Okay, ma'am. So, before employing parametric or non-parametric test, first you want to verify your normality of data. There is a normality of distribution of data. Based on the normality of data, you want to identify whether you want to employ parametric or non-parametric. For example, if your population is normally distributed, then we should employ only parametric test. Suppose if our population is not normally distributed, then only we should apply only non-parametric test. I have noted in few theses where scholars have employed both parametric and non-parametric. For example, ANOVA independent t-test is a parametric test, whereas chi-square is a non-parametric test. If scholars have employed both parametric and non-parametric test, there will be a question: what is the logic behind employing parametric and non-parametric test? So, once you employed ANOVA independent t-test and another chi-square, As a scholar, we want to prove that a particular set of population where the population is normally distributed, where we have employed parametric, and if you are able to prove that a particular set of population is not normally distributed, hence I employed non-parametric tests like Kruskal-Wallis, Mann-Whitney, and chi-square, etc. Okay. Now, first we will look after how to measure normality. For measuring normality, we will make use of Likert scaling question answers. Okay, you all are aware. We may collect data in Likert scale, either it may be 3-point scale or 5-point scale or 7-point scale. It is up to the discretion of the scholar as well as the guide. Okay, so before employing any statistical tool, after collecting the data, try to measure the normality. For example, I will share my screen. Ma'am, whether the screen is visible?
No, sir.
Ma'am, please speak. Ma'am, now whether it is visible? I hope now it is visible, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For example, I have a already pre-structured data. First of all, now we are going to make use of SPSS. For example, you may have in your questionnaire, you may include nominal scaling, that is age, gender, marital status, etc. All this falls under nominal scaling. When the number is assigned for identification purpose, it is called as nominal scaling. Whereas when you assign number as weightage for your answers, it is called as ordinal scaling. All interval scaling questions or Likert scaling questions falls under the ordinal, sorry, interval scaling. Okay. So for example, before employing parametric or non-parametric test, we are going to verify whether the data is normally distributed, for which we can select few items. For example, for the example purpose, I am going to select 9 items and kindly go to SPSS and paste in data view window. Are you able to follow up, ma'am or sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So first kindly select the data and sorry, no, wait a moment. Okay, I already that's the reason. Ma'am, wait a moment, ma'am. Immediately I will join. There is a problem in my screen. Stop sharing. Okay. Okay, ma'am. First, we want to select a few set of interval scale data or Likert scale data. and kindly paste it. Problem. Okay, I will inform. Okay. Ma'am, first kindly take the data, liquid scale data, and kindly compute skewness and kurtosis. First, try to identify. There are two methods of measuring normality. First is for a certain set of data, kindly compute skewness and kurtosis and divide skewness value by kurtosis. And if the result value falls between plus 1.96 to minus 1.96, then we can say the data is normally distributed. Data is normally distributed. Once again, I will inform you. Kindly select a few set of data or the liquid scale data. Compute two items. One is skewness and compute kurtosis. And divide skewness value by kurtosis value. If the resultant value falls between plus 1.96 to minus 1.96, then we can boldly say the data is normally distributed. This is one of the method of computing normality. Okay, I think now it's working. Okay, ma'am, once again, shall I compute, ma'am? For example, analysis menu. In descriptive statistics, you can think of either you can select frequency or descriptive. Let me select descriptive, and I'm going to forward, or I can compute a frequency. I will forward the set of selected variables. Click statistics command button, where we can select skewness and kurtosis. Select continue button. Finally click OK. Here is the result. Are you able to note down, ma'am? Copy the output. Kindly go to Excel and paste our kindly paste the output. Now what I am going to do is I am going to divide skewness value equal to skewness value divided by kurtosis value, and I am going to compute for the rest of the items. If you note down, except one item, for the rest of the item, how the skewness value is found, except first variable. For the rest of the item, the resultant variable value resides between plus 1.96 to minus 1.96. So considering a majority, we can say the data is normally distributed. Ma'am, are you able to follow, or whether there is any doubt?
No doubt.
Shall we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the one of the method of computing normality. Once again, I repeat, ma'am. Yeah, first you are for the selected set of liquid scaling value, you are going to compute skewness, and you are going to compute kurtosis, and you are going to divide skewness value by kurtosis value. If the result value resides between plus 1.96 to minus 1.96, we can see the data is normally distributed. The rule is, if the population is normally distributed, you should employ only parametric test. If our population is not normally distributed, then we should employ only non-parametric test. This is the first thumb rule. Next, another method of computing normality is by employing KS test, that is Kohn-Gross remote test. I will inform for the same set of data. Now we are going to compute KS test. Kindly go to analysis menu, within which select non-parametric test, In legacy dialogues, you can select one sample KS test. Okay. Kindly forward all the selected items to test variable list and click OK. Before that, you can notice in tested distribution, what is we have clicked is only we have clicked only normal. It is we are just we have now we want to measure only the normality. Kindly click OK. It is one sample Coimbatore test. As it is very difficult to pronounce, we shortly called as KS test. Kindly note the last value. S plus KS test is concerned, it should be reverse. If the assumption significant is nothing but significant value, if the value is greater than 0.05, if the significant value is greater than 0.05, we can say the data is normally distributed. If the value is significant value is less than 0.05, we can say the data is not normally distributed. Okay, this is the another method of measuring normality. I hope we have today now we have seen two methods. One is by employing skewness and kurtosis we can measure normality, and another method is by employing Coimbatore test we can measure normality. Okay, ma'am, whether there is any doubts, or shall we proceed to parametric and non-parametric test?
அதிக பார்க்கலாம் கிளம்புறாங்க
Hello.
அப்புறம் ஃபோன் பண்ணுறேன்.
No.
Hello. Shall we proceed, sir? Whether there is any doubt?
Yes, proceed.
Okay. Now we are going to employ. Suppose let me assume if population is normally distributed, okay, then we are going to employ only. We want to employ only parametric test. Then within parametric test, we have now we are going to see three items. Independent t-test. Suppose when to employ independent t-test. For example, to measure whether mean differs between two groups. Once again, I repeat, to measure whether mean is nothing but average. To find whether average differs between two groups, we can employ independent t-test. For example, if you want to measure whether a boy student or female student have secured high mark, here we are going to compare only two groups, for example, male student and female students. For example, if we want to measure whether male students have secured high mark or female students have secured high mark, then we can employ independent t-test subject to condition if our population is normally distributed. Okay. For example, now here I am going to compare satisfaction with gender. Gender, we don't in gender I have consider only male and female. Kindly copy the data. There's a delay. Okay. I have copied the data and pasted it, and kindly go to analysis menu and go to compare means, where you can note independent sample t-test. Independent sample t-test. In variable 1 I employed dependent variable, and variable 2 I mentioned independent variable. Kindly forward dependent variable to test variable window, and kindly forward independent variable to grouping variable, and kindly click define groups command button. Here we are assigned 1 for male and I assigned 2 for female. So in group 1 kindly mention value 1, and for in group 2 kindly mention group number 2. Click continue and kindly click options button, and everything is right, and finally click OK. In group statistics you can identify, as far as this example is concerned, the sample size is 300, of which 193 are male and 107 are female. And if you look after the mean values, which is set to high, I think in row number 2 there is female. While interpreting, we can see female customers have high level of satisfaction than male customers. This is for interpretation. When we frame hypothesis, we want to either accept or reject, for which we want to look after the significance value. If you look after the significance value, it stood at 0.034 as the thumb rule for accepting or rejecting the hypothesis. If the calculated p-value is less than 0.05, it denotes it may be either 0.00, 0.01, 0.02, 0.04, 0.03, and 0.04, where we will reject our hypothesis and we say it is significant. If the calculated p-value is equal to 0.05 and greater than 0.05, where we will accept our hypothesis, where we say it is not significant. If you note down this example, what is the p-values? The p-value stood at 0.34. We should consider only two values. Only we want to consider only two values. We not to look up to the third value. If you look up to our two values, it should at 0.03. It is less, as it is less than 0.05. We can see there exists significant difference between satisfaction among customers. So how I will write is female customers have high level of female customers have high level of satisfaction than male customers. As the calculated p-value is less than 0.05, there exists significant difference in customer satisfaction based on the gender. If you frame the hypothesis where we will mention the null hypothesis rejected. Okay, this is a parametric test. Suppose if our population is not normal distributed, if our population is not normal distributed, then for the same example, we are going to we want to compute man-Whitney test. If our population is normally distributed, if we want to measure whether mean differs between two groups, we will employ independent t-test. If population is not normally distributed, instead of employing independent t-test, we will employ Kruskal-Wallis test. Kruskal-Wallis is equivalent to independent t-test. For the same set of data, we are going to employ Kruskal-Wallis. Kindly go to analysis menu, select non-parametric test. In legacy dialog, kindly select two independent samples. As usual, kindly forward depend variable to test variable window. Almost if you noted down the same duplicate of independent test. Grouping variable. In group 2, mention 2, continue, and finally click OK. Sorry, this is a man with new test. Okay. The same result. Once again, I will repeat. To measure whether mean differs between two groups, you can employ independent t-test or man with new test. Independent t-test is a parametric test, whereas man-Whitney U-test is a non-parametric test. If population is normally distributed, you should employ independent t-test. If population is not normally distributed, you should employ man-Whitney U-test. The main purpose of employing either independent or man-Whitney U-test is to find whether mean differs between two groups. As usual, we want to look after the significant value. If the significant value is less than 0.05, we can say the data is that we are going to reject our hypothesis. Okay, ma'am, whether there is any doubts, or shall I proceed to another exercise? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is independent sample test. Suppose if we want to measure whether mean differs more than two groups, we should employ analysis of variance. Okay, if our population is normally distributed, we should employ ANOVA. If our analysis of variance, if our population is not normally distributed, then instead of applying ANOVA, we should employ Kruskal-Wallis test. It is Kruskal-Wallis test is equivalent test to ANOVA, analysis of variance. Okay, once again I will repeat, man. The purpose of employing analysis of variance or Kruskal-Wallis test is to measure whether mean differs more than two groups. It may be 3, 4 or 5, that is not a matter. For example, if you want to measure whether the awareness among students or satisfaction among customers differs based on the area of residence. In area of residence, we have selected urban, semi-urban, rural. So if we want to measure whether the customer satisfaction differs based on the area of residence, as a group comprised of more than two, we are going to employ analysis of variance. Subject to let you assume our population is normally distributed. If population is normally distributed, and if we want to measure whether whether mean differs more than two groups, we want to employ analysis of variance. Similarly, kindly select the data and paste the data in SPSS. Kindly go to analysis menu, select compare means, and within this submenu, kindly select one-way ANOVA. Kindly forward dependent variable to dependent list, and kindly forward your independent variable to factor window, and kindly select options command button, within which select descriptives. This option we are selecting for writing interpretation alone. Select continue and finally click OK. If you know that this is the output, let me assume 1 denotes urban, 2 denotes semi-urban, and 3 denotes rural. If we look after this mean value, where the average value is set to 5, the average value is set to 5 in semi-urban area, then we can see customers who reside in semi-urban area have high level of satisfaction, and customers who reside in urban area have low level of satisfaction. These are our findings. Suppose if you frame an hypothesis, mean satisfaction does not differ based on the area of reference. This hypothesis should be either accepted or rejected. For this, we want to measure the ANOVA significant value. If you note down the significant value, as mentioned, the significant value is less than 0.05. It implies there does not that exists significant difference in mean values among customers classified based on the area of residence. Then we will write interpretation like this. For example, customers who reside in semi-urban area have high level of satisfaction, and customers who reside in urban area have low level of satisfaction. As the calculated p-value is less than 0.05, there exists significant difference in mean satisfaction among respondents classified based on the area of residence. Hence, the null hypothesis is rejected. Okay, so if the population is normally distributed, kindly employ analysis of variance. Suppose if our population is not normally distributed, then instead of employing analysis of variance, we should employ Kruskal-Wallis test. For the same set of data, now we are going to compute Kruskal-Wallis test. Go to analysis menu, kindly go to non-parametric test, in submenu select k independent samples. Kindly forward variable 1 or dependent variable to test variable list and independent variable to grouping variable. You can note the same sort of window which we noted in analyzer variance is reflected. Kindly click define range. Here we have assigned 1 for urban, 2 for semi-urban and 3 for rural. So in minimum value, kindly mention number 1 and in maximum, kindly mention number 3. As we have classified groups into 3 and we assigned 1 for urban, 2 for semi-urban and 3 for rural. Hence the minimum value is 1 and maximum value is 3. Click continue. In options, kindly click options command button within which select descriptive. Kindly click continue and finally click OK. If you note down the mean value, if you look after this rank test, where once again the same result, the mean rank is found at customers who reside in semi-urban area, and the low mean rank or mean value is found where customers reside in urban area. The same result, same ditto. So if you employ Crystal, we are going to infer as usual customers who reside in semi-urban area have high level of satisfaction and customers who reside in urban area have low level of satisfaction. And based on the significant value, as the calculated significant value is less than 0.05, it is inferred the satisfaction differs among customers based on the area of residence. Hence, our hypothesis rejected. Suppose let me assume if the calculated significant value is greater than 0.05, we will write as the calculated significant value is greater than 0.05. There does not exist significant difference in mean satisfaction among customers classified based on the area of residence. Hence, null hypothesis is accepted. Okay, ma'am, whether there is any doubt? If you need any clarifications, I am ready to clarify. Then I will proceed.
No, sir.
No, sir, you may
Okay,
proceed.
ma'am. So far, we look after independent t-test, analysis of variance. Once again, I will repeat, ma'am. The purpose of employing independent t-test is to find whether um, whether mean differs between two groups. We will employ independent t-test. Equivalent to independent t-test is man-Whitney u-test. When our population is normally distributed, we will employ independent. When our population is not normally distributed, we will employ man-Whitney. Next, we look after ANOVA. To find whether mean differs more than two groups, we will employ ANOVA, or the equivalent test to ANOVA is Kruskal-Wallis H-test. If our population is normally distributed, we will employ analysis of variance. If our population is not normally distributed, we will employ Kruskal-Wallis H-test. That's all. Next, we are going to identify another test is pad t-test or Wilcoxon test. What is the purpose of employing pad t-test? For example, in social science or in layman's language, we can mention to find before and after effect, we can employ pad t-test. For example, in our college life or school, when after completing an examination, we will identify the slow learners. Our students who have failed in a particular subject or set of subjects, we call them as slow learners. And for slow learners, we will arrange special class. Okay. After making students attend special class, once again we will conduct an examination, and now we are going to compare the slow learners performance before attending special class, after attending the special class, whether their performance have improved or not. This we can call as before and after effect. That is, we are going to measure the student performance before attending special class and after attending special class, for which also we can employ parity test, or once another example. For example, when a company, a company may have poor performance, or a company may continuously incur losses, and the loss making company has been taken over by a reputed or benchmark company, and the company starts earning a profit. To measure whether the earning potential of a company have improved of or not, that is before taking, what is the performance of a company before taking over, or the performance of a company after taking over, for which also we can employ parity test. Similarly, in economic countries, economic condition may collapse. When it may be reflected in stock price or stock market also too. So the stock price movement before a country's economic collapse or recession, or after recession, we can compare the stock price movement before recession and after recession, or we can even compare the GDP rate or compare the consumer spending behavior before corona and after corona, for which we can apply parity test. So we can say, to find before and after effect, we can employ parity test. Okay. Now we took example of slow learners. The mark here we have mentioned the mark scored by the slow learners before special coaching, and here I have mentioned the mark scored by the students after attending the special class. Now I am going to compare whether the student performance have improved or not after attending the special class, for which we can go to SPSS window, open a new window where you can paste the values. In variable 1, I have mentioned the slow learners marks which they secured before attending the special class, and in variable 2, I have mentioned the students slow learners mark secured after attending the special class. Now we are going to compare whether their performance have improved or not. Kindly go to analysis menu, compare means, select pad sample t-test. The word pad itself, we are going to compare two values. Kindly forward variable 1 and 2 to pad variables window and kindly click OK. If you note down the pad sample statistics, the slow learners, the average mark secured by slow learners before attending special class is 41.77, whereas the mark secured by slow learners after attending special class is 53.44, which implies the special class is said to be effective. Okay, that is the students and the average mark secured by slow learners after attending special class have improved than the before attending the special class. Next, we want to measure whether there is a difference between the. If you look up to the number wise, it is different. There is a difference. To prove the statistics or hypothesis, it should be verified. Kindly verify the p-value. As the calculated p-value is less than 0.05, it is inferred there exists significant difference in student performance. That is, there exists a significant difference in student performance. That is before attending the special class and after attending the special class, which denotes the special class is said to be effective. And if you frame any hypothesis, we will reject our hypothesis. Okay, this is parity test. When our population is normally distributed, you should employ only paired t-test. Suppose if our population is not normally distributed, the equivalent test to paired t-test is Wilcoxon test. The purpose of Wilcoxon test and paired t-test is one and the same. That is to find whether there exists difference between two groups. Before there are two. Sorry, to find whether to find before and after effect. If our population is normally distributed, we will employ parity test. If our population is not normally distributed, instead of parity test, we should employ Wilcoxon test. Kindly go to analysis menu, non-parametric test, and kindly select two related samples. The same side of window, kindly forward variable 1 and 2 test pairs and finally click OK. Okay. Based on the significant value, we will verify whether the population is whether there is any difference between before and after. Okay, ma'am. Shall we proceed to last exercise, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Finally, today we are going to find chi-square. The chi-square is a non-parametric test. There is no parametric test. As I mentioned, for independent sample, we have Mann-Whitney alternate equivalent test. For analysis of variance, the equivalent test is Kruskal-Wallis, and for parity test, equivalent test is Wilcoxon. Whereas chi-square is an only non-parametric test. There is no equivalent parametric test. Finally, the purpose of employing chi-square is to find association between two variables. For example, if we consider intelligent quotient, it is nothing but knowledge. Whether our knowledge depends on what factor, we can consider a individual's knowledge may depends on education qualification. When your education level keep on increasing, surely our knowledge level should also increase. Yes. Suppose can we say that whatever the knowledge you have gained during LKG, when you complete 5th standard, your knowledge level should also increase. When you complete your 10th standard, surely your knowledge level should increase. Similarly, when you complete your UG or PG, your knowledge level may increase or should increase. So when we can compare the knowledge level of a customer, we can compare or we can associate. We can say the knowledge level of an individual depends on or associated with education qualification. That is the purpose of employing chi-square. Once again, repeat, the purpose of employing chi-square is to find association between two variables. For example, we are going to compare knowledge and education qualification. When an individual education qualification increases, his knowledge level will also increase. Similarly, when an work experience increases, the employee's outcome or efficiency may also increase. So this is the purpose of employing chi-square. That is, chi-square is a non-parametric. So if you have proof that your population is not normally distributed, then only you should employ chi-square. That is why I mentioned in quite of the Viva examination, the main question is from the examiner is why you employed parametric and non-parametric. That is the question. Suppose in few theses we will mention analysis of variance, independent t-test, jet test, etc., 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 and we will also employ chi-square. The main question raised by the exam is why you employ both parametric and non-parametric, for which you want to offer justification. Sir, for few set of data where population is normally distributed, where we employ parametric, and for few set of data where population is not normally distributed, for which we employ chi-square. So if you have proof, or if you have you should have some statistical output on normality, based on which you can offer justification our population is normally distributed or not normally distributed. Okay, now we will look after the chi-square. Here I am going to compare gender and satisfaction. Here, satisfaction is said to be dependent variable, whereas gender is said to be independent variable. Kindly select the data. Kindly go to SPSS and paste the data. Go to analysis menu, descriptive statistics, where you can identify. Kindly select cross tabulations. Kindly forward variable 1 to row and variable 2 or dependent variable to column, and kindly click statistic command button, within which select chi-square, click continue, and kindly select cells command button, within which select in percentage, kindly select row. All these things are selected just for writing interpretation only. Click continue and finally click OK. If you note down here, in one denote male, two denote female, whereas in satisfaction one denote low satisfaction, two denote moderate level of satisfaction, and three denote high level of satisfaction. If you note down the value in satisfaction, high level of satisfaction, the value is said to be high with female respondents. It implies female customers have high level of satisfaction, and if you note down the where the percentage is high in low column, it is noted the highest value is noted in male. It denotes male customers have low level of satisfaction. This is interpretation. From this table, what we have inferred is female customers have high level of satisfaction and male customers have low level of satisfaction. Before that, we may frame an hypothesis as gender is not associated with satisfaction, or satisfaction is not associated with satisfaction is not associated with gender. Either we want to either accept or reject our hypothesis, for which kindly go to chi-square test and kindly note down the p-value. Here the p-value is greater than 0.5. It implies as the calculated p-value is greater than 0.05, there does not exist significant association between gender and satisfaction. Hence, the null hypothesis is accepted. Okay. So, this is the way. First, you are based on the cross tabulation, you are going to write interpretation, and based on the chi-square significant value, we are going to mention whether the hypothesis what we have framed is will be accepted or rejected. Okay, once again I repeat, the purpose of employing chi-square is to find association between two variables, that is either between dependent and independent variable. And next is chi-square is a non-parametric test. There is no equivalent parametric test. Chi-square is only a non-parametric test when the population is not normally distributed. And when the population is not normally distributed, then only you should employ chi-square. Okay. The first is based on the significant value, percentage. We are going to infer whether where the population is too high. From this table, it is inferred female customers have high level of satisfaction and male customers have low level of satisfaction. From the significant value, it is inferred there is no significant association between gender and satisfaction. Hence, we are going to accept our hypothesis. That's all, ma'am. Today's session. Listen, emotion. But considering the time constraint, we are rushing up the portions. If time permits and if an opportunity avails, we will meet we will spend much more time or some more time. If there is any doubt, now it is your time to clarify your doubts, sir. Thank you for your opportunity offered by the department, by the Edupas Academy as well as the Kamalam Arts faculty team. Thank you. Thank you a lot. There is no equivalent to chi-square, sir. Okay. For ANOVA, there is equivalent. For independent t-test, there is equivalent. For Wilcox, pair t-test is equivalent. But as far as chi-square is concerned, there is no equivalent. It is only a non-parametric test. There is no parametric equivalent test for chi-square. Ma'am,
Thank you, sir.
one more appeal, ma'am. Suppose most of the all our faculty members in every college there will be target nowadays. Considering the NIRF ranking in all colleges, they may force faculty members to publish
Thank you, sir.
article in Scopus. Okay. And there are as far as our social science is concerned, there are few journals available at free of cost, like InterScience and etc. Q1 journals. Always try to publish in Q1 and Q2 journals, where you try to employ structural equation model by considering mediating and moderating effect. If you employ whatever the statistical tools which we discussed today is acceptable, but as far as Q1 and Q2 is concerned, mainly they are focusing on structural equation model, that to mediating and moderating effect. This is based on my experience. We have published few articles in Q1 and Q2 where we struggled and we took 1.5 years per publication, acceptable. But try to concentrate and try to upskill yourself on employing this structural equation model too. Okay, sir, so that you can also publish a quality article in Q1 and Q2 journals, where if you publish in Q4 journals, there is a chances of delisting our journals. If you publish in Q1 and Q2, our publication will be long lost in Scopus database. With this, I conclude my session. It is a time for queries.
I request Dr. Desni ma'am to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening. On this wonderful day, I deem it a great pleasure and privilege to thank all in the gathering, and let us thank the God Almighty for His grace and blessing for success of this program. I take this opportunity to thank our today's resource person, Dr. R. Velmurugan, Associate Professor, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore, who spared time I take this opportunity to thank our today's resource person, Dr. R. Velmurugan, Associate Professor, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore, who spared time from his busiest schedule to share his research knowledge to enhance our research in recent trends in modern era. Your dedication on sharing your knowledge and experience with us is truly commendable, and we are immensely grateful for the invaluable guidance you have provided. I would also like to express our sincere thanks to all the faculty members and staffs of EduPass Academy for organizing this wonderful webinar. And the event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling months in advance. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated committee members for their involvement shown to execute the event and the willingness they have expressed to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. Thanks to each and everyone contributed to the success of the program. I thank all the participants who have actively participated in the webinar. Gratitude costs nothing, but it is a big investment in future. Once again, we renew our gratitude and commit to spread the fragrance of knowledge, leadership qualities, personal talents, and cultural interest. Once again, I thank and all of you. Thank you. We'll connect in next upcoming programs. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, ma'am. Feedback link is not working.
Ma'am, I have shared one minute. Ma'am, I have shared one WhatsApp link. Just you can join in that link. I will share the feedback link in that, and you after that you will receive the certificate.
Actually, I'm trying, ma'am, but that too, it's not working. The site
No,
is not.
just now I have shared you one group link, ma'am. You can join in that WhatsApp group. I will share the feedback link in that group. Some technical error, so I'll check it and I'll send the feedback form again in that group. So you will receive the certificate.
Ma'am, kindly give me a favor that already you all have made one group now. So if you send in that, so it will be helpful for us.
No problem. If you are in that group, it is not any problem. If you are not in that group, you can join in that link.
If you are sending in that only, na?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Thanks for your.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Feedback link.
ये पहना उसको चलो सको अरे नमस्ते जिमसी पहचान गई previous page अच्छा भैया वो पहन टोपी तक ठंडा है मालूम और ग्लव्स कहाँ अंदर है अच्छा है रे तू बहुत परेशान करती पता चल पहन अब टोपी मैंने तुमने कहाँ कर दी मैंने तुमको दी ना मान रखो मेरे को दी एक घूसा मारी मैं टेबल पे डाल के आई ये थी पहन लेना टोपी पहन जेब के अंदर हाथ डाल सर वो पहले तो वहां ले चलना अपन को ये है ना शिवाजी का चौगड्डा जहाँ साइड में कपड़े वाले बैठते ना वहां जैकेट चेंज कराना फिर लौट के टेलर के आना है बस दो ही काम है